today is the review assignment. So I'm going to go step by step. So if you're just wanting to see some of the problems, you're going to have to fast forward or skip the problems you want to see. So we're going to start with 1, 2, and 3. Here we go. Now, remember, is it a function? A function means you cannot have repeated x's. We could use the vertical line test. This is where the vertical line test comes into play. Remember, that means if I draw a vertical line, it can hit any squiggly or straight line at one point or not at any time, but it cannot hit a line more than once. So yes, this is a function because of the vertical line test. Okay, it hits it here or it hits it here, but it doesn't hit it more than one time. Remember, this isn't linear or nonlinear. This is a function or not a function. This is also, yes, it is a function because no x is repeated. Okay, now I look here. This is no, and I circle that because the 1 in the x spot is repeated, and we can't have an x that is repeated or an input. Okay, next, linear or nonlinear. Okay, so linear could mean straight line. For example, this middle one, yes, it is linear. Why? It is a straight line. It's as easy as that. I'm going to skip around. This one at the end, no, it is not able to be in slope intercept form. And that is slope intercept form. You could also say you cannot have a square root with an x under it. That little, you can't, we don't have square roots in slope intercept form. We don't have exponents in slope intercept form. So that's kind of it. Now, the one that sometimes gets people is that constant rate of change. So x's, all the x's need to be going up by the same rate, adding or subtracting, and the y's have to be going up by their same rate. It doesn't have to be the same rate as the x's, but this is going up by 3, by 1, by 4. Because that's not going by the same rate. Remember, it doesn't matter what the x, if the x is, but no. This means it does not have a constant rate of change. Okay. Slope, remember, slope is rise over run. The equation is y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. And that's for slope. So y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2, minus x sub 1. That gives me 1 over, careful, 6 minus the negative is really plus a positive over negative 5. Not reducible. Okay, y sub 2 minus y sub 1, negative 5 minus 3, 2 minus 2, okay, that's negative 8 over 0. When there's a 0 on the bottom, it is undefined. Undefined, okay? That's when a 0 is on the bottom. You might want to write that down. Okay, y sub 2 minus y sub 1. X sub 2 minus x sub 1. Minus a negative is plus a positive. So we have 4 over negative 4. and that reduces down to -1. Okay, here we go. Y sub 2 minus y sub 1. X sub 2 minus x sub 1. That's a 0 over -3, and that's 0. 0 on the top is 0. Okay, keep going. 8 minus 1, -8 minus 1. 8 minus 1 is 7. Do the keep, change, gives you -9. That is not reducible. And the last one of these, y sub 2 minus y sub 1, x sub 2 minus x sub 1, keep, change, gives me a -2. Keep, change, gives me a +3, and that is not reducible. So there you go for slope. Okay, quickly, these aren't too bad. If it's in slope-intercept form, what is the slope? Well, look at the equation. It's 3/4. What is the y-intercept? It's 8, but that really means the ordered pair 0, 8. For the next one, the slope is 4. We could also say 4 over 1. The y-intercept is actually -3, which means it's an ordered pair 0, -3. Okay, the slope is 4, but we could also say it's 4 over 1. Either one works. There's nothing at the end, so that is 0, or the ordered pair 0, 0. Now be careful. X equals means if I were to show you a graph, ooh, weird line. But anyway, if this is the number 4 here, it's an up and down line where X is 4. So the slope is undefined. And when it's an X equals, it never crosses the y-intercept. So there is none. Think about that. And last two. This one, first thing, get it in slope-intercept form. And you get y equals 2x minus 3 or plus a -3. So my slope is 2, or you could also say 2 over 1, but usually we just say 2. The y-intercept is -3, but that's really the ordered pair 0, -3. Okay, and this one is tricky. First thing, -12, and you get 3x minus 12 equals -1y, if we cut it there. Divide everything by -1, okay, and you'll get 3x, but now it's negative, plus, watch that, 12 equals y, or you could say y equals -3x plus 12. So my slope is -3 and my y-intercept is 12, but it's really the ordered pair 0, 12. Okay. What is slope-intercept form? That is y equals mx plus b. So getting it in slope-intercept form, which is what we just started doing or have been doing, getting y by itself. So this would be y equals, now it's important you put the x first before you put the 1, because the x has to be first. Okay, for this one, again, we're going to get rid of the x, but think of it as really a -1x. So, and we still have that -4y plus 8. Okay, now we're going to minus 8. And we get -4y equals -1x minus 8. And then we're going to divide each piece by -4, and we're going to watch our signs. And we get positive 1/4 x plus 2. Okay, on to the next one. I want to keep the y. I'm going to get rid of the 7. Now remember, I cannot combine the negative 4x and 7. They're not like terms. So I just write them side by side, and those go away. Then I divide every single term. Okay, so that becomes negative 2x. That's negative 7 over 2. You could change that to a decimal if you want, because it's not representing slope. So I want the y first and everything else after. So you could change that one because it's not the slope. Slope needs to be a fraction. The y-intercept can be a decimal. And we're going to keep going with these. Again, you can fast forward if you're good with that. If not, minus 3x. And remember, we want the x first. So we have 4y equals negative 3x plus 24. Do not combine those. Divide, divide, divide. 4, 4, 4. So we got keep this a fraction and just reduce that. Okay, this one is a little tricky, but I'm going to add 1/4 x. And I'm going to notice that I have 2y equals 1/4 x plus 8. And then when I divide by 2, I'm just going to hit divide by 2 here. I'm going to take out my calculator, and it's going to give me a decimal. So I'm going to do 1/4 divided by 2, and I'm going to hit that fraction to decimal button, and you're going to see it's actually going to give you a 1/8. So give that a try. And that's what you should get. Okay. This last one, again, minus the 1/6x. Okay, don't forget that is a negative 1/3 y equals negative 1/6x plus 9. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply everything in that. I'm going to distribute a negative 3 to everything, or a negative 3 over 1, because that becomes a y. That becomes a 1/2 positive x, and that becomes a negative 27. Now, I'm not going to ask you that tricky of one. I just wanted you to see it. Okay, and then can you graph? So, number 1, it starts at negative 1. If you need to do the switching, you can. And then rise 1, run 2, rise 1, run 2. And just double check. It's that shows a positive slope and a negative y-intercept. Okay, this one you're going to start up 5, and then you can't go up 5 over 2, so now we have to go down 5, back 2, just to represent positive slope. And again, I look at that equation. Ooh, I should hit them all. Positive y-intercept, positive slope. Check with Mr. Slope Guy what it looks like. And this one I started up 1, and then I go down 1 over positive 3. I could also go up 1 and back 3, and just double check. That's representing a negative blue line slope, and it is a negative in my slope intercept form. Okay, last few. So we're going to start at up 4, and then we're going to go rise 2, run 3. Again, I could go the other way if I wanted. Okay? And this one, just be careful. You would have to get rid of the 1x first. And I'm going to skip down here to it. And it shows you 2y equals negative 1x minus 4, or plus a negative. That works. And I'm going to divide everything by 2 and get negative 1/2 x minus 2. So I'm going to start at down 2, and I'm going to rise -1, run 2, -1, run 2, or I could go the other way, but it has to be a negative blue line slope according to Mr. Slope Guy. And this last one, it looks icky, but actually it's not. So when I minus 5x from both sides, I'm going to start down below here. I get y equals, now the x has to be first, and my y-intercept is last. So I start at down 5. Now remember, it's really -5 over 1. I can't go down 5, so I have to go up 5 and backwards 1 just to make sure the slope is negative. Okay, so if you have any questions, I just went through them all, but if you want specific questions, please reach out to me and let me know. If not, go for the Schoology formative. Okay? Have a great day. And be ready for tomorrow's test.